But with that said, some organizing affirmations, right, for people who watch this and want to get involved and start their own local Green Party. No one needs permission to begin organizing in their communities. Yes, you can do it, right? Like I said, start by talking to your neighbor. Start by thinking, who of the people I know in my community care about the issues I care about, and then start a conversation. You don't have to start with, will you join the Green Party? Will you pay dues to be a member of the Green Party? Will you run for office as a Green? Start slow. Start with conversations. Start with building relationships, feeling things out, and figuring out what your best next step is going to be. Because your best next step is going to be way different if you're in Seattle, than if you're in Florida. So you really gotta, no one has to give you permission, right? You can do this, and we believe in you, that's how it happens. That's how we build a bottom up grassroots party. Good organizing, like I've said, is built first and foremost on trust and real relationships. Working class people rightfully don't trust politicians. Actions, not words, are what matter. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed. Start with one or two things, right? The world is a flaming dumpster fire, and so much of it is urgent. And urgent doesn't even accurately convey how desperate things are for a lot of people on a lot of issues, right? So as Greens, we're passionate people, and we often kind of think we need to save the world all at once. And that leads us to fail, that leads us to overstretch, that leads us to burn out. So start with one or two things at once. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed. Slow roll into it. Figure out what's right for you, what's right for your group, what's right for your community in terms of next steps. Don't think you've got to start, at running someone for Congress. Make sure you do the prep work and planning. If you're always shooting from the hip, it's hard to be effective. Decide on measures and metrics to determine if the action was successful. This is a major party Greens run into. They kind of feel like we got to do it. Somebody's got to run. Somebody's got to organize a protest, right? We just got to do it. Somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do it. But when you're doing that, you're not organizing effectively. When it's always somebody's got to do it, somebody's got to do it. You're not slowing down. You're not planning. You're not strategizing. You're not, formulating how this action feeds into the next action and how all of these actions feed in to building an independent alternative power, right? So it's really hard, but I really encourage all Greens, especially right now when we're in kind of a national level turmoil, take a step back, analyze your work, analyze what you're doing in your community, analyze the issues in your community, see who your networks are, power map, do all these kind of things that you can do in your local organizing. But take a beat, take a breath, try to step away from the somebody's got to do it mentality, and really think about your next steps so that you can move forward effectively. We can't always shoot from the hip, or we're just never going to be successful. There's no one method to organize. Learn and adapt ideas from others. Do what makes sense for you, your community, and your goals, right? If you see a great idea from someone, see if you can do it, right? But you may need to tweak it a little. I remember a few years ago, there was a DSA chapter that replaced people's headlights. And I saw all these people try to replicate it around the country. But the reality was, and we had this conversation in my local community, and we ended up not doing it because what we realized was we didn't necessarily have someone with the skill set. We could each change our own headlights. We could each YouTube and figure out how to change a headlight. But we didn't have, a mechanic in the crew that could quickly and efficiently change lots of different headlight setups. And so we need, you need to adapt it. You need to take that inspiration and see what your skill set is and how you can pay out, how you can, kind of leverage that into your organizing. And then there are very few resources on independent political organizing. Most organizing resources are oriented towards not-for-profits or advocacy groups, or in mainstream capitalist Democratic Party politics. So don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to fail. Right? We learn, as long as we learn from a failure, it's not a failure, it's a stepping stone.